There are some easy schedules in 2024 in college football. What's going on YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. I did the top 10 toughest schedules yesterday. Make sure you go back and watch that. But now we get to the easiest schedules. And like I said in that video, there is a huge difference in these schedules. I don't think I've ever seen a gap in the toughest schedules and the easiest schedules. And like I said yesterday, again, it's going to make a difference in the records at the end of the season. So let's get right into it. Again, we use the same point system. I did have an honorable mention here, Ole Miss, just because they play in the SEC and they still have a pretty easy schedule. Look at the non-conference. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, and Georgia Southern. Yeah, not very tough there. They do play Georgia, but they don't play Texas. They don't play Alabama. They don't even play... they don't play Missouri. I mean, it's not too tough of a schedule, at least for the SEC. Yeah, Kentucky, South Carolina, Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State. So they're going to be favored in a lot of games this season. And again, this schedule is going to have a big impact on making the playoff and what the record is at the end of the season. Now, Ole Miss was not number 11, but because of the conferences, you're going to see mostly ACC and Big 12 in this video. That's just the way it is. Those conferences are just pretty far behind the SEC and Big 10. There is one other SEC team that actually is in the top 10, but there are no Big 10 teams. When you play in one of the better conferences, one of the top two conferences, and you play 9 conference games, it's tough to get any really easy schedule. So the Big 10, they don't really wind up with any of the easiest schedules. It's mostly ACC and Big 12, but let's get right into it. We'll start with the Big 12 with Cincinnati. You look at Towson, Pitt, and Miami in the non-conference. Pitt normally would be a pretty tough game, but they're pretty bad. So that's a very easy non-conference schedule. And then you look at who they play in the Big 12. They got West Virginia, but they don't play Arizona. They don't play Oklahoma State. And they don't play Utah. So you're avoiding 3 of the top teams in the Big 12. They do have West Virginia and Kansas State, but a pretty favorable schedule in the Big 12 there for Cincinnati. Let's go to number 9, and there's that SEC team I was talking about. It's Missouri. This is just a very easy schedule compared to the other teams in the SEC. They've got Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and UMass. Compare that to Florida, who plays Florida State, Miami, and UCF. That's what I'm talking about. Huge gap. And then you look at their schedule in the SEC. It's really not bad at all. They don't play Georgia. They don't play Texas. They don't play Alabama. They don't play Ole Miss. I mean, go down the list. They don't play LSU. They don't play Tennessee. I mean, it's like they avoided the top 5 or 6 teams in the SEC. What is going on? How did they get this easy of a schedule? And they're going to get it 2 years in a row, by the way, because the SEC is just flipping the home and away and doing the same thing in 2025. So Missouri, this is your chance. If you should be able to potentially make, if you're a top 15 team, you should absolutely be able to make the college football playoff this season. So yeah, Texas A&M, Auburn. Oh, I back up. They do play Alabama, so I misspoke there. They do play Alabama. I'm overlooked that, but still, they avoid most of the top teams in the SEC. You've got Oklahoma in there, but yeah, Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas A&M. That's about it. Next toughest games, what, Auburn? So yeah, Missouri has a really easy schedule. Number 8 is Texas Tech. They play Abilene Christian, Washington State, and North Texas in the non-conference. You look at their conference schedule. Yeah, they do play Arizona. They do play Oklahoma State. They do play West Virginia, but no Utah, no Kansas State. It's again a pretty favorable schedule here for Texas Tech, and starting with that non-conference. Number 7 is NC State. Western Carolina, they do play Tennessee in the non-conference, so that's a tough one. But other than that, the non-conference is very easy. They've got Clemson, but they've got no Florida State. They've got no Miami. They've got no even SMU. They've got no Virginia Tech. So very favorable ACC schedule here for NC State as they come in at number 7. Let's go to number 6 now. Notre Dame, who historically has one of the tougher schedules because of the way they schedule, but the ACC being as bad as it is, and them avoiding a lot of the top teams in the ACC. Look, they do play Texas A&M. Let's start with non-ACC games. They do play Texas A&M. They do play USC. But in the ACC, I mean, Louisville, Florida State, that's about it. They've got Miami of Ohio. They got Purdue, who's going to be bad. They've got Stanford, who's bad right now. They've got Navy on the schedule. They've got Army. They've got Virginia, who's not very good. So a lot of wins here that are pretty much guaranteed wins for Notre Dame. and a very favorable schedule for the Irish. Let's go to number 5 now. Kansas, non-conference, Lindenwood, Illinois, and UNLV, and I think Illinois might be the worst team in the Big Ten. So really not a tough schedule there in the non-conference. You look at who they play in the Big 12. Yeah, they've got West Virginia, they've got Kansas State, but they avoid all the other top teams. They avoid Utah, they avoid Oklahoma State. It's a very, very favorable schedule here for Kansas. And it's West Virginia, Kansas State, really their only tough games. But they can slip up. Obviously, the Big 12 is wide open, and there's plenty of parity. But if you look at the tougher games, really only a couple there. Number 4 is Virginia Tech. They've got Vanderbilt, Old Dominion, and Rutgers in the non-conference. I mean, that's really not very tough. You've got Miami in the ACC. You've got Clemson, but no Florida State, no Louisville, no SMU, no NC State. Again, this is a pretty favorable schedule here for Virginia Tech, and a big reason why I think they have a chance to really turn that record around and improve a lot this season. All right, let's go to number 3 now. There is SMU, and they come into the ACC, and they don't have a tough schedule. They've got Nevada, Houston Christian, and BYU in the non-conference. Look, they play Florida State and Louisville. That's pretty tough, but no NC State, no Miami, no Clemson. Again, it just comes down to the point system. All these schedules on this video were really close in that point system. There wasn't a whole lot of separation. They're all very easy schedules, but we did have to rank them. So let's go number 2 now. That's North Carolina. Check this schedule out. So the non-conference, they do play Minnesota on the road, and they do play James Madison. So that's not a super easy non-conference schedule. But look at their ACC schedule: Duke, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Florida State, Wake Forest, Boston College, and NC State. Florida State's going to be tough. You got NC State. I think they're probably favored in the rest of their ACC games. So if they beat NC State at home, there is a very realistic chance that North Carolina could go like 10-2 or 11-1. I don't know if they get in the playoff because their schedule is so easy. But record-wise, yeah, this team, it could be at 10 wins, even if they're not even a top 25 team, because the schedule is so easy. Like I said, they may only play 1 or 2 top 25 teams on the entire schedule. So a very, very favorable schedule here for North Carolina, and that's why I think they have a chance to have a pretty good season. But number 1, that is going to be Syracuse. You look at the non-conference. Okay, yeah, this is the easiest schedule. Non-conference is Ohio, Holy Cross, UNLV, and UConn. That is a very, very easy non-conference schedule. Then you look at the conference schedule. They've got NC State. They've got Miami. No Clemson. No Florida State. No SMU. No Louisville. I mean, come on. This schedule is very easy, and it is clearly number 1. They do play, they've got 5 road games, and one of them is UNLV. So this is a really, really easy schedule. So Syracuse, the easiest schedule in the Power 4, and I shouldn't say in all of college football, because obviously the group of 5 teams are going to have easier schedules. But Syracuse, the easiest schedule in the Power 4 in 2024. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Give me your thoughts on the easiest schedules down in the comments below.